Sometimes times when you feel like you want to actually burn a project, because reason being is that when you're doing a project and you encounter issues on the project itself, it's very difficult for you to actually determine, what the issue is, and you have to sit there and nitpick your head, and you get extremely frustrated. True story, there's a YouTuber out there who actually took his CL63 AMG. It could have been a 2019 or 2018 model, roundabout there. At the time, I think he had either 6,000 or 600,000 subscribers, and he went and he burnt his AMG down. And lo and behold, that video brought him 1 million subscribers. I don't think I'll be able to do that, just gain 1 million subscribers immediately. But what I can tell you is that if it means burning a car down, I might just burn this particular car down. So we're at the point where we started with the body preparation. You remember those screws that were sitting in this particular position? We now removed the screws from there, and we closed all of the holes that is running along the side of the sills, as well as all of the other holes along the side of the car itself. In terms of body preparation itself, fiberglass you can't really prepare, so the manufacturing process is critical to ensure that the panels are straight, to ensure that all of the lines are straight, because you cannot actually file this down. So when I refer to filing something down, is like, for example, here on the roof we had a particular dent that was sitting here, so you are able to file it down back to bare metal, maybe put a light layer of Bondo, and then sand it down again, and then it will be perfectly straight again. But with fiberglass you can't do that. The reason being is that if you scrape too much of the fiberglass, you will actually go into the panel itself and leave a big hole. The other aspect of the build that's almost done is that, so where the fiberglass met the actual metal of the car itself, we're getting the transition as smooth as possible onto the metal portion of the car, so that it will look as a seamless fit and no gaps along the side. So all of these particular items, like here, as well as here and here, all of these gaps, these will all be closed, and they will be, so you basically assume that this panel and this panel is one panel, but in actual fact it's two panels that is sitting on top of each other. So for aesthetics purposes, these will be a flat. So that's pretty much in terms of the body work that we've been doing. The preparation work will take a long time, and I don't really want to, how can I say, show you guys 30 videos on what we did in terms of body work itself. So the body work will continue. Hopefully tomorrow we can put some primer on the panel, and once the primer is on the panel, we'll be able to flat it down again and get the car ready for external body paint. We've been in contact with some vendors out there to see who can do the interior for us, because we want it at a particular standard and as well as a particular look on the interior itself. So that gives us time to work on the motor. So in terms of the motor itself, I'm busy setting the timing on the motor. So it's pretty much straightforward. So you have your timing tool that sits across, and make sure these are flush. Quite funny, one would assume E would be for exhaust, and it's actually not for exhaust. This E stands for something in German that means intake. So this is the intake side, and A is for the exhaust side. You can see the letter A right about there. And then I found the sweet spot on the vanos on this side here, which is the most amount of travel. So when they refer to the sweet spot on the vanos unit itself, it's the distance at which it can go in. So when you put I think this is called the piston, when you push the piston into the camshaft itself, if you have the wrong distance, or if you don't have the sweet spot, what will happen is that this particular piston will go only maybe up until here. But when you find the sweet spot, this piston pushes all the way right through on the inside. So I found the sweet spot, I've marked the sweet spot. I'm busy doing the sweet spot on this side here. I'll find the sweet spot here, and then I'll tighten these down, and then remove, I'll give it a quarter turn on 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, and by doing the quarter turn on these bolts, I actually apply pressure on the inside of this particular unit, and by applying the pressure, I'll then space this out. So this particular dowel that's sitting here is supposed to be on the head. I'll space the varnish unit from the head itself. I'll space it out 5 millimeters from each side. I'll space that out 5 millimeters from each side. I'll then put this piston back on the inside and push the unit down. And then once the unit is down, I'll put that down. I'll tighten the bolts along the varnish. Once the bolts on the varnish all tighten these bad boys up, and yeah, and then turn the motor and then see if the timing is still correct. And if the timing is correct, we put the cover back on. Once the cover is back on, we will be able to put the gasket back in, put the radiator in, put the hose, and put the viscous fan back on, connect the alternator pulleys, connect the crank pulleys, get the belts all sorted on that side there, tidy up the water hose on this particular end here, get the the window washer bottle in, and see if we can get a first start out of it. So I think this part here is the most nerve-wracking part, because to get the motor to start, that's going to be extremely difficult. Well, I wouldn't say difficult, but nerve-wracking at the same time. Again, here's some of the metal work that was being done, so that we had a tiny, I think it was like most probably the size of like a 10-cent coin dent. We got rid of that there. And then as per the clip you're going to see now, so we're done with this particular part on the car. We shaved it down. We're going to put some body filler here just to get it all level. And then where the crevice is a bit too deep, we will actually put sheet metal across so that we can get a level playing field. The radiator now fits extremely snug, and what I'm extremely pleased about is that now the upper radiator hose, it runs from the head itself to the actual radiator, is pretty much aligned to each other, so I no longer have that S bend. So that's going to give a clean look on the inside, which will just be a complete 90-degree bend running to the head. So not really exciting stuff in terms of the video itself, but a lot of the guys are saying that they're learning, and for me that's important, because at the end of the day, we're all learning here in this same process. It's not like we know everything. I do sit with my laptop a lot. I research it, and you know, especially in terms of the body panels, how to fit it on and things like that there. It's extremely frustrating to build a car, extremely yeah, I think there's so much of project management that goes into building a car. Without a doubt, it's one of those things that we you know, have to do in terms of making sure the build gets taken place in the correct manner, the correct procedure. Everything has a step. You can't do this before this, and you can't do this before that. It's just part of the whole process. However, that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this particular episode. I think the next one would be after the primer is on. There's a lot of stuff that still needs to take place in terms of the motor. So now we're dressing the motor up in terms of all the piping, the water pipes, the oil pipes, you know, things like that that we couldn't do beforehand. We're doing all of those particular stuff, and right now we're at the point where we going to start the process on the 1M. So what you want to know on the 1M? Well, we're most probably going to be doing a new single turbo manifold on the car itself, a new downpipe, a new screamer pipe. We're going to be swapping out the bushings, all the bushings on the car. We're looking at most probably getting some new wheels. So fun times ahead. Oh, and a titanium exhaust as well, and not Akrapovic, something awesome. Yeah, so stay tuned for a lot more stuff to come on the channel. Till the next time. Peace.